Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jennifer Meckles.
And I'm Mark Salinger. A fire tore through an apartment complex last weekend, displacing around 30 families living there.
Yeah, and today it's still fenced off as families try and figure out what to do next. 9 News reporter Colton Chavez joins us live from the building. It's off 13th and Lamar. After you spoke with one of the families, Colton.
And Jenny, Mark, standing here tonight 1 week later, and you can still smell a little bit of that smoke coming from this building. For Jonathan Campos, he says his family has lived in an apartment too for 20 years, but now they don't know what the future will hold.
It is very hard for her because she's very used to the area. She's very used to that apartment.
Decades of creating a home potentially gone forever.
My mom, my dad, my sister, and I were the ones that were living in that apartment. So we were apartment number 2.
Jonathan Campos says his mother was asleep alone in the apartment when an early morning fire in a unit above hers sent flames and smoke into the air.
All the neighbors started knocking on her window, trying to wake her up. She did woke up.
West Metro Fire says it was caused by a space heater that was left unattended on an upper unit's wooden deck.
The 2 apartments on the bottom have water damage, and the 2 apartments that were on top of us, they were the ones that were burnt.
The fire displaced about 30 people. For now, Jonathan and his family are living with relatives nearby.
It is part of your family, but it's weird, at one point, just because you're used to going into your space, at the time that you want.
Jonathan says they have not been able to retrieve any of their belongings and are unsure if his family will ever live there again.
They have to check about the air quality and see if they can let us back in. That everything has to go through insurance. Unfortunately, we didn't have renters insurance.
Decades of memories potentially lost for good.
I don't wish it upon anybody.
But through all of the uncertainty,
you're here one day and the other day you don't know what's gonna happen.
Jonathan is sure of one thing.
I am grateful to God that my mom was able to still be with us and still be here with us.
Jonathan tells me that his family is receiving some help from Red Cross for things like clothes and other resources. Now, fire officials tonight, when we asked about whether criminal charges would be pursued, they say that investigation is still underway. Live in Lakewood tonight, Colton Chavez, 9 News.
Temperatures are rebounding this weekend after a few days of cooler weather. Turned out to be a pretty nice, beautiful, sunny day across the Front Range.
Corey Reppenhagen joining us this evening. Corey, it doesn't necessarily feel like mid-November out there.
No, everything is running super late. Yesterday's 46-degree high temperature was the warmest low-high temperature that we've had in 123 years in the fall. So things are super unusual, trying to change up the pattern, but we're getting very similar type storms coming our way. This one is going to come here tomorrow, bound for southern Colorado, and very little impacts as far as overall statewide, especially to the north. But we do have some winter weather advisories down in the San Juans and other parts of the southern Colorado mountains. 3 to 10 inches expected throughout the day tomorrow. Those will expire about 11 o'clock midnight tomorrow. Here in the Front Range, not too much impacts. We'll see a little bit more clouds, still kind of mild. Outside chance that we'll catch some sprinkles tomorrow evening, tomorrow night, and then we're back in the sunshine on Monday. Looks like a nice warm day, but breezy on Monday. And then we'll look for our next chilly system coming in here on Tuesday. High temperature 41. That would pop yesterday's temperature. So it's the chill before Thanksgiving. Tuesday and Wednesday, a little chilly, mostly dry, but things look good for Thanksgiving. I'll talk about that coming up in the full forecast.
Corey, appreciate it. Hey, the busy Thanksgiving holiday travel rush is about to go into full swing. Airports that are just bouncing back from the government shutdown and all those FAA slowdowns are now bracing for what the FAA calls the busiest Thanksgiving travel period in 15 years. Tuesday expected to be the peak travel day with more than 52,000 flights across the country. At DIA, airport officials are expecting more than 845,000 people to go through security checkpoints there. That's up nearly 10% from last year. The good news, though, is that the impacts from the government shutdown have passed and airlines expect a normal Thanksgiving. Now to the roads, not much better. AAA expects a record-breaking 73 million people expecting to drive for the holiday. It all comes as a big part of the country could see rain this weekend. Texas and the southern plains could see the worst of it. A second system is bringing cold temperatures there, where rain could also turn to snow in areas like Minneapolis next week.
If you will be traveling for the holidays by car this next week, CPW is warning drivers to be on the lookout for wildlife. CSP says wildlife crashes always increase this time of year. Just last weekend, they said troopers responded to 17 of them between Clear Creek and Jefferson County. CSP says last November, troopers responded to more than 500 crashes with animals. This weekend, Loveland police are investigating alleged child abuse at a daycare. Officers arrested Michelle Sanders after reports of kids injured in her care. She's now facing several child abuse charges. Police say Sanders ran her daycare from her home, and police believe there are more victims. They're asking any parents who worked with her who noticed signs of abuse on their kids to call their tip line.
The woman who hit and killed a talented 17-year-old cyclist in Boulder may be placed in a halfway house just 6 months now into her 4-year sentence. Magnus White was an aspiring Team USA cyclist who was hit and killed by a car while riding his bike. According to the letter obtained by our partners at the Denver Gazette, the Colorado Department of Corrections told the family that 24-year-old Yeva Smilyanska is being referred to a halfway house. It's a transitional living facility for inmates to be reintegrated into the community. Colorado law states that an inmate with a referral from the court or the Department of Corrections can be assessed for the program. A judge sentenced her to 4 years in prison for White's killing. Happened along Highway 119 in Boulder back in July of 2023. Now, the referral still needs to be approved. The White family has submitted a victim impact statement fighting against it.
A convicted murderer will serve even more prison time now for killing a fellow inmate at the Lyman Correctional Facility. Happened back in 2023. The 23rd Judicial DA's office says 40-year-old Arthur Price was sentenced to more than 40 additional years for the killing now of a 65-year-old inmate. He pleaded guilty to murder and assault charges. DA's office says he was already 12 years into a 36-year sentence for murdering a woman.
American-born Pope Leo just backed this week the U.S. Conference of Bishops' decision to oppose indiscriminate mass deportations of immigrants carried out by the Trump administration. Today, local church leaders brought the Pope's message of dignity for immigrants to Colorado's only federal immigration detention center. Hundreds of people walked the perimeter of the Aurora ICE Detention Center, stopping 15 times to pray the Stations of the Cross.
I am moved. I look at this crowd and I know many of them, are all over the ideological spectrum. I know that for sure. And it's this one thing that's uniting us, and that they've come is a sign of hope for me.
With their prayers, the hope was that the people inside could hear that they stood with them.